Welcome back. This is Natalie with SalonBusinessMarketingTools.com, and today we're going to continue on our mission of the hair salon business plan. If you've watched some of the other videos, you can catch the other main 3 categories or sections of your business plan that you'll need to have. This is going to pick up with the company summary and then, of course, your startup expenses and startup funding. So let's get right to it. Your company summary. The company summary is where you're going to list your company objectives. Exactly what is your purpose? You don't have to be very detailed. It doesn't have to be a really long company summary. You just want to make sure you touch on some key points on what your company objectives are, and then you also want to list your services. Now, be clear, you do not have to be detailed with your services. There's a different section in your business plan where you'll be more in depth with what services you'll provide. In your company summary, the services that you will list will be broad. So if you are going to provide hair cutting, hair coloring, massage therapy, skincare, you want to list it just like that. Hair coloring, hair cutting, massage therapy, skincare. Keep it very broad. Also, you want to make sure that, that you don't, like I said, go too far into depth with the company summary. There's other sections in your business plan where you will get more detailed and more specific. The next area is going to be company ownership. Company ownership is where you're going to tell us the legal structure of your business. If you are a sole proprietor, if your business is a LLC, limited liability corporation, LLP, limited liability partnership, or S corporation, or a corporation or C corporation. Both S and C are Incs. So if that's the case, then it would sound something like All About Hair Salon is a limited liability corporation located in Atlanta, Georgia. So that's all that you will need to state really under company ownership. You can maybe go into depth about who has what percentage of stock or claim in the business, especially if it's a partnership. You can easily say 50% of ownership belongs to Sally Joe and 50% ownership belongs to David Allen. That can be listed under company ownership as well. The next section is going to be your startup summary. Your startup summary needs to be brief, but it needs to be explained. You need to just give a brief overview of what your total startup costs are and specifically state what the bulk of that is. So if the bulk of your startup cost is supplies, salon supplies, then you want to make sure you state that in the startup summary. Don't go into detailing every single expense. There's a section in your business plan where you'll actually list that. It's going to be in your startup expenses area. In this section, it's just a brief overview, and you definitely want to list what the bulk of that is. Now, your startup expenses, this is where you get to detail every single thing you purchased before you opened your business. But here are the key words. Before you opened your business, startup expenses is only used for the expenses you have incurred before you actually open your business. Example of startup expenses would be legal fees, consultant fees, site build out. It could be rent deposit, computer repairs, anything like that. Anything that you purchase before you actually open. Stationery, printing, all of those different things you can put in the startup expenses area. Now make sure that you save all of your receipts from what you purchased so that you can have it ready for tax season. You'll definitely need that when it comes to filing your taxes. The next section will be startup assets. Assets is a little different than expenses. Your startup assets, this is where you're going to include items that you purchased that's furniture or equipment. An example is styling stations, hair dryers, hair steamers, mirrors. This is all considered furniture and equipment. These type of purchases will depreciate over time. I just want to make sure that you don't list them in the wrong area. You don't want to list them in startup expenses because they are considered an asset. Your next section will be startup funding. Startup funding is an area where you have to disclose your financial information as it relates to your business in your business plan. So anything that you use, any form of funding you use to get your business up and going, you have to disclose it and you have to list it in your business plan. Now, there are several categories in the startup funding area. So let me go ahead and explain that so that you can make sure that you designate the right liabilities in the right sections. The first category will be current borrowing. Current borrowing is also known as short-term liabilities or short notes. I think it's short notes payable, I believe. So your current borrowing are going to be things that you plan on paying back or that you will pay back within a year's time. That's the funding, the purchases you're going to list under current borrowing. You're going to list it right there, any funding you use for that. Your next category is going to be long-term liabilities. The only difference between current borrowing and long-term liabilities is the amount of time that has passed. Long-term liabilities are normally paid over years and not within a year. The third category will be accounts payable. Accounts payable is the section that's going to include your credit card debt. It's going to include vendors, anyone that's a supplier that you will be paying back within the next 30 days. This is what the accounts payable section is used for. And your last category is other current liabilities. Other current liabilities are going to be funds that are borrowed from yourself, personal loans that you've given to your business. It also can include interest-free loans that maybe you've received from friends and family. All of that is going to be included under the current liabilities section. So I hope this has been helpful as far as understanding what you need to do or what sections you need in your business plan and what needs to be put in those areas. Again, we covered the company summary, the company objectives, company ownership, startup expenses, startup funding. If you have any questions that's related to your hair salon business plan, you can definitely leave them down below. If you have any questions about marketing your salon business, please leave that question below or leave any comments. I'd love to hear from you. Again, if you like what you've heard, subscribe to our channel. Check us out at salonbusinessmarketingtools.com/secrets. I'm Natalie, and I look forward to talking with you on the next video. Have a great day. Bye.